Good evening and welcome to the October 12th, 2023 meeting of the Abington Township Board of Commissioners. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioners Brodsky, Rothman,
Here.
DePlacido,
Here.
Vaughn, Brown,
Present.
Weingrab,
Here.
Henry,
Here.
Sapone, Carswell,
Here.
Spiegelman,
Here.
Bowl, Shriver,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Vice President Vahey, President Hecker.
Here. Please note that Commissioners Zapone, Vaughn, and Vahey are excused this evening, and may we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before I get to my announcements, as an expression of unity with the members of the Jewish community here in Abington, I ask that we pause for a moment of silence in recognition of the inhumane and tragic events that occurred in Israel this past weekend. I also ask that we lift up all of the families, including those of at least 25 American citizens who are experiencing unspeakable grief. Thank you. I have two announcements. The first is that an executive session was held on September 20th to discuss potential litigation. And number two, under the consent agenda item BOC-01-101223, the administration is asking for no action to be taken tonight as there have been additional comments from Cheltenham Township, and this will be a future agenda item for consideration. And with that, we will now open it up for public comments on matters that are on the agenda this evening.
I'm sorry, this is Commissioner Vaughn. Before we start, I am here. I couldn't unmute.
Oh, thank you. So we'll mark you present.
Good evening, board members. My name is Barbara Wertheimer. For those who don't know me, I have been a member of first the Planning Commission and then the Zoning Hearing Board of Abington Township. And next month will mark my 35th anniversary.
Wow.
Serving this township. I wanted to appear before you tonight to let you know in person that I will not be seeking reappointment to the board. In the past 5 years since my last appointment, I have gone through some health issues. I am now a 3.5-year survivor of ovarian cancer. And I am looking to the future of spending more time with my family. I now have a grandson, and it has been an honor and a privilege to serve this township for all those many years. Some of you can reflect back with me on highlights of Hillside Cemetery, the high school stadium. I could go on forever. There have been so many stories, so many reflections, so many people that I served with. When I came on the board, my younger daughter was 2 months old. She's now 35 and a practicing child psychologist.
Wow.
It's amazing how times have changed. And I was the young kid, and now I'm like the old historian. So I want to thank everyone for the privilege and honor of serving this township all that many years. I've had the opportunity to serve on the strategic planning committees, on the zoning rewrite committees, and I think somewhere I have 35 years of notes, if anyone's interested. So with that, I will see that I have 57 seconds left, and I will merely state, go Phils.
Barbara, thank you for your service. Is there anyone in the room that wishes to speak to matters on the agenda?
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Rooney. I live in Ardsley. First, thank you, ma'am, for that incredible effort you put into our township. I'm going to talk about the HRC just for a minute.
That's not on the agenda this evening, is it? Or
It
is
is.
Oh, it's on the
You're
consent agenda.
appointing-
You're correct.
Okay.
Go ahead, please continue.
Thanks for not correcting me. So, what's been going on in Abington? First, what I would like to say, and I guess Chief Malloy's probably on the thing, I want to thank the Abington Police Department for everything that they've done in the last, say, 6 weeks. They're really incredible, and I'd like to put a little shout out to Officer Jones at the high school for the unbelievable work that he's done also, and also all those that have helped him out throughout the time. So with the HRC, so what's going on since, say, August 25th? There was a gun at a football game. We called the police. They came and they handled it. There were 2 brutal fights in the bathrooms that are really shocking, and we only know about them because people videoed them and they put them online. There was a riot in Abington High School that ended up with 13 people being arrested. The chief, Abington High School, and the pastor at Salem Baptist were all on television talking about longstanding problems that are going on, okay? Then there was another riot at 100 Old York Road, and it seems like we never hear the end of 100 Old York Road. I know there have been other fights there. This one was more brutal than what went on in the high school, but there were no arrests at it also. But again, the pastor at Salem Baptist identified specific problems that he wants to address using the men in his church to handle that. Then we just read last week, there was a press release from Lieutenant Fink. There was a man in Willow Grove shot in the legs, and then somebody was apprehended, and that's all that I know about it. I have an address, and you have a name of the person apprehended. Then obviously, what else is going on? You already mentioned it. We had 25 Americans murdered. I don't know how many were kidnapped. 1,000 or 1,200 Israelis, Nepalese, Thais were all murdered by terrorists from Hamas. Really is shocking when you see what's going on. What do you get out of this? Man, we are blessed to live here in Abington Township. We are absolutely blessed to live here. It is a gift from all of us, and we should be clicking our heels every day. We literally have won the lobby, and there are 8 million people in the world wish they could live in Ardsley, Pennsylvania. Now, what do we get from our Human Relations Commission? If you take a look at this stuff, it's insane. White supremacist propaganda, anti-Semitism, and fighting hate in all forms. That was on September 28th. They missed the mark, okay? About what's really going on, they have nothing to do with it. And I know I'm already running out. If you could give me like 30 seconds more. I had an opportunity to interview with the Human Relations Commission for an opening on the board. And I've written it up because I believe the Human Relations Commission is in violation of HO2, the Ordinance 2029, and I've already approached that with the township. But beyond that, it was probably the most unprofessional interview that I have ever been involved with in my entire life. So I'm just telling you all this. None of you were there at it. Okay, there's lots more that I can say, but in my opinion, 1, it's in violation of the ordinance that this township passed. Number 2, it's completely separate from what's actually going on in our township. They have a specific agenda, and I don't know why they're pushing their own agenda, but it doesn't celebrate the gifts that we have, the blessings that we have here, okay, and address the real issues that are actually going on in the world. Thank you for the extra time.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else in the room that wishes to speak before I turn to Zoom? And if not, we'll turn to Zoom.
Laura Lehman, you're unmuted.
Laura Lehman from Bryant Lane in Meadowbrook, and I want to speak today about, first of all, the fact that we still are burying the Zoom links. I do not understand why you will not bullet point the Zoom links wherever they are. Nobody looking for a Zoom link needs to read your lengthy paragraph. And to have a manager that is that unresponsive to the simplest requests. Can't even tell you the number of times people have called me at the beginning of a meeting and said, I can't find the link. So you just need to listen to what the residents are asking and do that, please. And that's a list of about 200 things that are so simple to fix and remain unfixed. I want to talk tonight about the finance items on the agenda. Well, let me go first to the fees for the criminal history and whatnot. When I see how much money you dump into developers working in this township and, services that are rendered endlessly for those kinds of things that actually are doing us harm. And yet, when people are in trouble and they most need help is when you're trying to put fees on there to help them. I remember years ago, Commissioner Wachter said, I know how we can raise some money. We can charge fees when they get the police report, and they did. And I just, it's stunning that you cannot see that those people who are in trouble and need police reports and need a criminal history, they need your help. They don't need to have you saying, how can we make money from them? Okay, and I will say that in your summary here, you don't really have an adequate sense of what it is that it's costing the township. And maybe we could talk about, where the pain is coming. When you don't have those figures properly delineated here, we can assume that there's a reason for them not being here. And then finance-wise, we really need in this township to have financial reports at every Board of Commissioners meeting. We have a couple of finance items on the agenda, but we no longer, and we used to, we no longer have a financial summary of how we're doing. Now, some of the reports we used to have used to say, well, we collected so and so many dollars in the month of March. That doesn't do us any good. What we do need is we need to know where we've gained, where we're losing. Our investments are losing. We're down in this amount. Here's where our strain is. Most of our financial burden is in this area. Residents need to know that, and they need to know that at every meeting before budget time. A very, very brief report that gives an outline financially of how we are doing and what things are affecting us. And the budget should not be withheld from us. So
Ms. Lehman, I'm going to ask you to conclude your comments. You're over time.
I will, thank you. So the finance stuff that we have here doesn't ever give us a picture, so please allow us.
Thank you for your comments. With that, we will move to the consent agenda, and I'm going to turn to Ward 14 Commissioner Lori Schreiber.
Thank you. And our consent agenda this evening is a motion to approve, the motion to, it's B, right? That we're eliminating?
We're striking B, yeah.
Okay. Items A through H, eliminating item B, and I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda carries. We have no unfinished business this evening, so we're going to turn to new business, and once again, I will turn back to Ward 14 Commissioner Lori Schreiber.
Thank you. Our first item of business is BOC 08101223, motion to approve the final major subdivision and land development for LD 2205 Penn State University new academic building, and I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. We have the Chancellor and the Attorney here this evening. We're going to ask them to come forward before we have any comments or questions from the Commissioners. Actually, I guess we have to call you Executive Chancellor now. Sorry, I'm going to have to get used to that. Congratulations. Do you want to, not everybody may know. Do you want to share the news?
I'm sorry, I will share the news. So my love of Abington has translated Abington, Penn State Abington has translated into a love of the Commonwealth campuses. And I was recently made Vice President for the Commonwealth campuses and Executive Chancellor, so I'll be working across the state with all of the campuses and really being a part of the future of Penn State. So my home is here, my tenure is at Abington. This will always be home, and I will continue to work very closely with the community. And it'll be nice to kind of replicate the great work that we're doing here across the Commonwealth. So thanks, Tom. For
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much. And really, you know, the commitment that Penn State has to community engagement and community partnership is evident in the work that we've done here on this new academic building. When we were here in August, I gave a whole history of it. I will not repeat that, but as you all know, it's been a process that has been underway for quite some time. We've been working very closely with the commissioners, with the township, and really we're grateful for the relationship, and we look to continue to deepen those ties and to deepen the kinds of things we're doing. So we're here tonight for preliminary and final approval of the proposal for the building, and our team is here with us, so if you have any questions, they're here. And I think that we've really worked very closely. You've been great partners in helping us come to a place where this project is where we all need it to be, and it can go forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Commissioner Brown.
As a 2001 graduate of Penn State Abington, I'm excited about the opportunity to support this initiative. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I will just say I appreciated the partnership on what was a somewhat complicated set of circumstances to work through. I think it's important that we support Penn State as an institution that serves many of our young men and women from the area and has an incredible track record. So with that, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, oh, that's right. That's right. I should have done that. I apologize. So,
I'm abstaining from the vote as I am employed by Penn State Abington.
okay. So if we just note that in the minutes that there was one abstention and the rest were in favor.
Yes.
Thank you. Back to you, Commissioner Schreiber.
BOC 09101223 is a motion to adopt Resolution 23015, setting reasonable fees for costs incurred by Abington Township in complying with requests for criminal history investigative information pursuant to the Criminal Victim Right of Access subchapter to the Criminal History Record Information Act, as well as setting reasonable fees for costs incurred by Abington Township in complying with requests for disclosure of police audio and video recordings pursuant to Act 22 of 2017, and I so move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And that concludes the new business agenda this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Schreiber. We'll now turn to matters of the Finance Committee, and I will turn to Finance Committee Chair, Commissioner Stuart Weingrad.
Thank you, President Hecker. First up, item FC 01-101-223, motion to approve the August 2023 expenditures in the amount of $3,005,713.01, and salaries and wages in the amount of $2,287,387.68, and authorizing the proper officials to sign and approve invoices and supporting documentation in payment of bills and contracts as they mature through the month of November 2023, and I so move.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded. Can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioners Brodsky, Rothman,
Yes.
DePlacido,
Yes.
Vaughn,
yes,
Brown,
Yes.
Weingrad,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Zepone, Carswell,
Yes.
Spiegelman,
Yes.
Bowl, Schreiber,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Vice President Vehy, President Hecker.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Back to you, Commissioner Weingrad.
Next up, item FC 02-101-223, motion to continue with United Healthcare as the retiree medical plan provider effective January 1, 2024, and I so move. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
And last item, FC 03-101-223, motion to award the contract for the construction of sidewalk and curbing along Rubicam Ave to McCarthy Masonry and Concrete, Inc. in the amount of $258,103.10, and authorize the township manager to execute the contract, and I so move.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
And that would conclude the Finance Committee agenda items for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Weingrad. That concludes our formal agenda. We will now open it up for public comment on matters of general township interest. If anyone wishes to come forward, please do so.
Commissioners, to demonstrate your failure to provide a safe community, I have these bulletin points. The houses on Cricket Road stood for 5 years in a state of extreme neglect. For years, you ignored neighbors' concerns. Finally, a house collapsed. When asked just last month, why did you allow this to happen? All commissioners acted clueless. In spring 2021, large cement chunks were falling out of the walls of the Target complex. I shared my safety concerns with Mr. Hecker. Mr. Hecker told me I'd need to start a petition if I expected any repairs. While I petitioned, a 12-foot-high brick wall collapsed. The Times Chronicle covered the collapse. The article was the only reason repairs were ever made to the Target complex. Abington Hospital has blighted property. I've spoken about it. No fines, no repairs. Are you waiting for another collapse? Blighted commercial properties have remained unaddressed for years, though, Mr. Hecker, you've told me they have been addressed. They look the same. Pushing biking on dangerous streets demonstrates a total disregard for people. The biking push coincides with your decision to build multi-high-rise apartments. These apartments will not have ample parking, no grass, trees, or walkable sidewalks. Your scheme forced taxpayers to pay for the needs of billionaire developers. Billionaire real estate developers control all aspects of commissioners' urban planning. These developers are not concerned about residents. Why, commissioners, are you at the beck and call of billionaire developers? Residents do not want Abington to become a blighted, poorly planned urban area. Developers want to build high-rise apartments with jacked up rent in congested parking lots. Commissioners, you are enthusiastically helping billionaires grow wealthier. Stealing zoning rights from homeowners, you have labeled community building. Mr. Manfredi's consultants agree with his every whim. You invite speculators to buy up Abington housing and create blight. Speculators are purchasing more affordable homes that families would gladly have moved into. Commissioners, are you at war against home ownership? Abington schools are overwhelmed with the needs of students. At this time, increasing population would be an enormous disservice to students. When police are needed to break up a riot, it is past time to pull back from your schemes. New 9th grade students watched the riot from the cafeteria window. After experiencing the junior high, they were hoping for a better environment. Instead, these new 9th graders now feel unsafe at the school. An officer was jumped at this riot. There was blood. Staff and teachers feel under relentless pressure at that school and the junior high. Every resident should be demanding to know why, commissioners, are your schemes more important than the safety and education of Abington school children?
Ms. Cabell, your time has expired. Thank you for your comments. Is there any other residents?
Why?
Ms. Cabell, please take your seat.
5.5, maybe years or so,
Ms.
you
Cabell?
allowed this to sit there. You did not answer. You acted clueless.
Please take your seat.
Give an explanation why this is allowed in Abington.
Is there anyone else who wishes to come forward to
We're
speak?
corrupt.
Mr. Rooney, please come forward.
Hi, Joe Rooney again. First, Adele, thank you very much. She's a watchdog for our township, and what she says is really important. I live near the Cricket Avenue thing, and those houses have been a blight, and Thompson was addressing that supposedly 2 years ago. So
I'll let you continue when the disturbance has ended. Please continue.
okay. I'd like to follow up a little bit of what I was talking about before, and Ms. Cabell actually highlighted it also in that I would ask you guys, and gals, I'm sorry, to do a little more oversight in the committees and the commissions and things like that that are in the township. So I mentioned the HRC before, and Adele's talking about the fights. Those are real problems in a real Abington, okay? And they are human relations problems. And the pastor, again, of Salem Baptist and the chief have addressed this multiple times. That's the stuff we should be focused on. Instead, I showed you this poster here about white supremacist propaganda, anti-Semitism, and fighting hate in all of its forms. But again, if you look a step further, at our library, there was a display that was highlighting this with books like Fascism by Madeleine Albright, White Supremacists, Our Patchwork Nation, How to Be an Anti-Racist, All White Friends I Couldn't Keep, More Perfect, Reunion, White Hot Hate. Why are you guys pushing this false narrative? I don't understand it. Abington's not perfect, but it's a great place, and it's been a great place. You know why I know that? Because people vote with their feet. And every single person up here, I actually was born here, and I don't know if Mr. Bowman might have been, were you born here? I don't know. Yeah. But everybody else moved here, and you had an option to move somewhere, and you chose here. You know why? It's a great place. What Ms. Adele's fighting for is keeping it that way, and there are a lot of people really are concerned about that. So here in the library, while we have 1,200 people murdered by murderous Hamas terrorists, and we've got fights going on that have nothing to do with any of this stuff. Meanwhile, at the library, what they have on display for Constitution Day? Anybody know? I don't even know if y'all go to the library or not. Nothing. What did they have on display for people for Columbus Day? Anybody? Nothing. Nothing. So we get this stuff is being pushed by people who go there. It has nothing to do with Abington Township. Once again, I'll tell you, if you all are here, this is a great place. I grew up here. I was going for 30 years. I was happy to bring my wife and 5 kids back here again. Perfect? Absolutely not. No place is perfect. But I've been in an awful lot of places, and this is better than everywhere I've been. I'll leave it with this. My daughter's in Thailand right now, and she's doing a little scuba diving trip. She went from Malaysia to Vietnam to Thailand right now. Communist country in Vietnam. We've lived in Malaysia for 2 years. She's in Thailand scuba diving with a little Israeli girl. He's a woman. My daughter's like 25 years old. That girl calls home. 1 close friend dead, 2 safe, and 3 missing, either dead or kidnapped. So it was Sunday, so we went to Mass and we prayed for them. And then I wrote my daughter back. You know what I said? Tell your girlfriend to move to Ardsley. Because you know what? It's wonderful here. We have problems. We have wonderful police. We have a good township manager. We have people who actually care. Focus on the stuff that's real. Celebrate what's good.
Mr. Rooney,
Let's fix our problems. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Lisa Malin from Meadowbrook. I know I'm not going to get an answer to the question, but I'll put the question out there. I was just curious if anybody could tell me what's happening at 1368 Valley Road. They cleared 40 trees there. I didn't see anything come up through planning or zoning. Is this going to be like 1209 Rydell Road, where it tries to skip a couple meetings and all of a sudden we'll see, some construction trucks or something there? I mean, my understanding is that piece of ground, and it's been vacant for a long time, is mostly on a floodplain. So I would think it would be limited in, what you could put there. So is there anywhere, Mr. Manfredi, that I can look on the Abington Township website that tells me what's happening at 1368 Valley Road?
Easiest thing, if you call Mr. McEnany tomorrow in the office, he can answer that. We are aware of what's going on and what has happened there. And I believe citations were issued and a cease and desist was issued by the Conservation District of the county.
And the State Department of Environmental Protection, which issued a cease and
I
desist
mean, they
order.
took 40 trees down already. They were working on Sunday.
Understood. Room wish to come forward?
Hi, good evening. My name is Justin Williams, and I am from Roslyn. I just want to take a moment to say thank you. I have a son who just started kindergarten at Willow Hill Elementary School. My wife is an 8th grade teacher at Abington Middle School. And I want to say thank you to all of you, to the police officers, to everyone in Abington that keeps my son and my wife safe every day. When I go to work, I am concerned about all the things that may have happened. As we know in our world, there is such craziness happening. But I thank you all for your leadership, for your support, and for your care for the residents of Abington. My hope is that we can partner together to stop identifying what are some of the things that divide us, but as a young African-American male, come together with our community, put our heads together, because there are smart people in this room, and say what we can do to continue to keep our community safe. So I just want to say thank you. It doesn't take long, but thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room that wishes to speak?
I'll make it real quick. I'm
Your
Ed Schroffer.
Yes.
I live on Amity Road. I actually moved there about 1.5 years ago. I lived on Noble Road for almost 30 years. And I moved there because I love Abington and I love that neighborhood. And if I had known about what's going on there now and about that change that allows people to build things other than single-family homes that went through in 2017, I would not be here today. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Anyone else before we go to Zoom? All right, let's go to Zoom.
Laura Lehman.
Thank you, Laura Lehman, Meadowbrook. I first want to address the fact that you have cut out the sound in the room. That is altering the meeting. Our meetings were supposed to be held gavel to gavel and unedited, and you have broke that many times. You've broken the rules and the policies when you feel like it, and that is not acceptable. So please, please, put the sound back on, tape the meetings the way the meetings are taking place, and if we have clapping or we have outbursts, the public gets to hear them too. There's nothing wrong with a little reality, and dealing with that is something that you need to actually understand why it's happening, what it is that you're doing that's causing it. When I look at Adele's efforts, Adele would not even be in this room if you guys had actually taken care of the actual code violations that she brought to your attention in a kind manner, and then she went out and petitioned, and then she got angry. Okay, and Joe Roney has been here fixing one thing after another. So you need to actually give some space to these tight regulations that you're trying to control so that nobody knows the bad things that are going on. They are. Justin Williams, I recommend you call me and we'll talk about the things that need to be fixed. As I mentioned, so simple. a link in a big paragraph that you could bullet point at the top, and they won't do it. We can't get the phone answered. Lisa Mallon came up and said, I won't get an answer to this. Why wouldn't we get an answer? This is unbelievable. Lisa Mallon's running for Ward 1 Commissioner, and she is here active and caring about her community, and we need a change in Ward 1. We need somebody sitting at that podium who's going to answer our questions. Nobody should come to the podium and say, I know you're not going to answer this question. And you didn't. You said call Tom McEnany, who has told absolute untruths to people who called about this property. Okay, you have had an application for, you have had a drawing of the building that they're going to put there, and you're telling people you haven't. You have permits for seepage tanks, and you're telling people you don't. This is absolutely unacceptable and unbelievable that it's happening in our township. And your way of handling it is to turn off the volume so people can't hear the speakers or the meetings. Mr. Weingrad and Mr. Sanchez had held a meeting for the tenants, not recognizing that Mr. Weingrad is the person who can change the laws. He said he wouldn't live in a building that had only 3 elevators.
Ms. Lehman, please conclude your comments.
Let me conclude that, please, because this is important. Those 3 elevators were all not working. None of the elevators in the manor were working in an 8-story building with handicapped people in it. And Mr. Weingrad's answer, I wouldn't live in a building like that.
Ms. Lehman, thank you for your comments. Let's move on to the next.
Ross A., you're unmuted.
Hi, Ross Abel, Upland Avenue, from Jenkintown Abington Neighbors Association. First off, wanted to thank Mr. Manfredi and the township for meeting with us and Jenkintown Borough on ways the 2 communities can partner with each other towards efforts like pedestrian and bike safety. We're looking forward to helping continue the partnership, so thanks for that. Second, I wanted to specifically about the claims about white supremacy not being relevant. Racism has everything to do with what's going on in every community in the US, as well as what's happening in Israel and Palestine. That's not saying anything about whether Abington's a great place to live or not. We all know it is, but that doesn't mean racism doesn't exist and we shouldn't fight. Back to specifically other issues in Abington. I want to support our Abington representatives committing to learn about Vision Zero and supporting it in pursuit of 0 traffic deaths on our streets through traffic calming and truly safe infrastructure for pedestrians, children, the disabled, and cyclists. And just some statistics from 2018 to 2022. There were 3 pedestrians killed on Old York Road and 46 injured by drivers. 11 pedestrians were hit and 1 killed specifically on the fairway. Additionally, I want to support the proposals of the Parks and Open Space Master Plan to add pedestrian connectivity to Alverthorpe and opening up the park to our great neighbors like those in Jenkintown, and there are increasing funding opportunities. Specifically within our members, we have, and this is many of the neighbors at the Jenkintown border within Abington, almost across the board, the neighbors support, at very least, letting our Jenkintown neighbors be able to use the park at Alverthorpe. Last couple things, I want to support an update to the bicycle master plan to include physically protected lanes for cyclists. And lastly, I want to support the township pursuing a park near Noble Station and plans from the Noble TOD for a walkable mixed-use environment north of the tracks. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom? Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All right, we are adjourned.